Hey friend, welcome back to the Live Off Rent show where we bring in real estate and other financial experts to help you build passive income, create your dream lifestyle, reach financial independence. As always, I'm your host, Brian Davis, co-founder of Spark Rental, and I'm on this journey with you. Every month we sit down, vet different passive real estate investments together in our investment club, and I invest right alongside you guys in those investments. So without further ado, I am super excited to introduce today's guest. Mat Sorensen went from being a broke teenage dad to being the senior partner at a 60-person law firm and the founder of Directed IRA and Directed Trust Company, a self-directed IRA custodian with over 1.5 billion with a B dollars in assets. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Brian. Excited to be here. I always love talking about real estate and self-directed retirement accounts too. Those are my two favorite topics.
There we go. Well, normally, Matt, I ask people to rewind the clock and tell us how they got started in real estate. But in your case, because you lead with the fact that you started as a broke teenage dad, let's start there because that's a fascinating starting point. So, take us back there and then how your career trajectory, shot skyward from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go back to being in high school and your high school girlfriend telling you she's pregnant. I mean, that's what happened to me. And I was like, what am I going to do? I had a lot of decisions to make, obviously, and just decided like, all right, I just got to be a man. I got to grow up and I got to start a family. And so that's what I did. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I think a lot of us go through like some point in our life where we felt some type of financial pain. And whether it was like self-inflicted by my part, or whether it was something else that happened in your life that's caused a little bit of pain and stress, but it required me to kind of get out there and figure it out for myself and find my own way. And I did it the old fashioned way. I just like worked hard, put myself through school, went to law school, became an attorney, got a highly valuable skill. People paid me money for it. But what I realized very quickly was, particularly as being a lawyer, I mean, this is fast forwarding pretty quickly, but you're trading your time for money as a lawyer. Right. And if I want to make more money, I got to work more. I got to bill more hours. And I didn't love that equation, and I think a lot of people are in a similar situation, no matter what your job is, you got to work more to make more. And so I was trying to find ways of where I could make more money. I made more money investing in real estate myself. That was the first thing I started doing, was investing in real estate, putting money aside, because it was income producing assets. It was, I could cash flow the properties. And I had one example from being a kid, which was my grandfather, who was a firefighter, had 2 fourplexes that I mowed the lawn for.
Oh, wow.
And I always remember him because he told me that like when he was in his retirement years, he'd retired from being a firefighter, that he lived off of those things, the rents that came in, he had paid them off by then. And then of course they later got inherited by family when he passed away. But I was always very intrigued by real estate and this opportunity of some sense of passive, it's not always, of ways to build wealth. And so even though I had a high income job as a lawyer, I was still trading time for money. And I gravitated to real estate as a way to build wealth, not just from that experience of my grandfather, but also, I'll be honest, from seeing a lot of clients coming to me for tax planning and how am I going to pass my estate on that had a ton of real estate assets.
Yeah.
It's just how people build wealth.
Well, I love that. And we covered a ton of ground in a short period of time there. But, that's one of the things that my partner, Denny, and I talk about all the time when we are talking to people who aren't as familiar with real estate investing. We talk about that notion of, when you start investing in real estate and stacking together these income streams, it's a non-linear income equation, right? Like you get away from just trading dollars for hours or trading hours for dollars, which to your point, you can only work so many hours in a week, right? That's a linear equation
as a lawyer,
for income.
As a lawyer, that apparently it turns out the problem with being that is you can only bill 1 hour in an hour.
Yeah.
So I was kind of,
Well, that's right. But joke. Yeah, so you can break that connection between, how hard you work and how much you earn, by starting to stack together these passive income streams. And, it doesn't have to be real estate, but real estate has a lot of different ways to go about doing that. And you can use leverage to really accelerate that. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So tell us about how you first started investing in real estate And then, from there, we can kind of meander into how self-directed IRAs came into the mix. But let's start with the beginning, with your initial real estate
Yeah.
investments and how things changed from there.
So I did a lot of the easy things, and I would buy my first home and it turned into a rental property. Like I bought a condo when I was 20.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, when I went to law school, I didn't sell it. I rented it out as it was a rental property. And I moved away to a different state for law school. The rental property stayed there. And so, but through law school, that property appreciated pretty nicely, And so I got a little taste of it. And, I graduated from law school with like $130,000 in debt. It's atrocious, but it's just what I had to do, So, but I had a pretty good amount of equity built up in that rental property over a short period of time. And it wasn't cash flowing great. I mean, it covered the expenses, but I definitely didn't have like a stream of income. I was like, I was excited about this little condo for heaven's sake. So I kind of decided at that point that I'm just going to hold on to assets, buy the next home. And then I move up because then my family's growing and I don't sell the house I sold. So I ended up having a few properties that were just kind of like my personal residences that I held on to and didn't sell. Then we're like, all right, well, we own a business. I became a partner in the law firm. We're a small law firm at the time. I had a title and escrow business actually at this time back in the day. And we're like, we don't want to rent our office building. We're going to own our office building. So I went and bought our office building and then we lease it back from ourselves. And we've done that in other future business. So I have a lot of commercial properties now that my businesses are the tenants in. And that's one of our strategies. Just as a tax lawyer, it's like, it's a phenomenal tax write-off because there's a self-rental rule where you can write off the whole thing if it's your own business's property. You don't have to be a real estate professional. If you know all those tax rules, it's a nice little niche, but also we're building wealth by paying ourselves rent and we get all the appreciation, not some other landlord on the other end of it.
Right.
So, so those are some of the easy things that I just did. Now there was some properties and I tried to flip a property. Like I've done a lot of things, failed. That flip, I ended up holding as a rental for 10 years before I broke even on it because I bought it in 2007.
I was
the
there.
height of the market.
Yep.
I thought, I'm going to flip this. Surely the market is going to continue to go up. So I've made some mistakes along the way, but I've done a lot of those investments and have a pretty significant portfolio now. But I also use my retirement account too. And I ended up figuring that out along the way about how your retirement account can own real estate. And I've even done that myself. So, but I've done a real estate development project. I mean, we're even building a 15,000 square foot office building right now that we took from raw land and have had to go through the development approvals. And we're in the building permit process right now. So I just love real estate. I really do. And one of my messages I teach is a lot of the things people love about real estate, they can combine with their retirement account. And you can use an IRA or 401k to build your retirement account using real estate. You don't just have to buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Like at heart, I'm a real estate guy. I've just always done better at it than I have picking a stock. And so I've transitioned over to also using my retirement account to invest in real estate, which a lot of people do as well. And that's where we have a lot of accounts at Direct IRA, what a lot of our clients do too.
So for our audience members who are not super familiar with the mechanics of self-directed IRAs and how they work, just walk us through the fundamentals here for self-directed IRAs.
So a self-directed IRA is basically an IRA or 401k that can invest in any asset allowed by law. The most common self-directed IRA purchaser is someone buying real estate with it. A lot of people think of an IRA, whether it's a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or SEP IRA. When they think of an IRA, they think of stocks and mutual funds, maybe bonds. That's all I can buy. Pretty much what Wall Street's selling. And that's what Wall Street's told you, right? Like, hey, when you have your IRA or 401k, buy this because that's what they sell. But that's
what they make money on.
Exactly. I don't blame them. McDonald's sells Big Macs,
Right.
You're surprised when you walk in there and you end up with a Big Mac. So if you want to buy real estate with your IRA or 401k, you can. You've always been able to since 1970 when retirement accounts were created, but Wall Street never told you this. So what you need to do is you can take that IRA that let's say is at TD Ameritrade, that's a broker dealer that sells financial products, and you can move it to a company like ours, Directed IRA. And there's 30 companies that do what we do. We just happen to be the best. So Directed IRA, just had to throw that in there.
Of course. Love it.
Yeah. But a Directed IRA or any self-directed IRA custodian, you can invest in whatever you want. So like I have clients IRAs that have owned a share in a racehorse at the Kentucky Derby. I have clients IRA that owns a professional Mexican soccer team, 10% of it. I've had clients own startups that turned into publicly traded companies. We have clients in private equity funds, venture capital funds. We have clients that buy crypto with their retirement account. But the most common thing people buy with their retirement account is real estate. And there could be different strategies within that. There could be buying rental properties, which I've done with my retirement account. Private money lending is very popular as a tool, which is an awesome strategy because that tool for people in the real estate space in particular, because I come across a lot of people that are like, Matt, I'm 30. I don't care about a retirement account and I don't even have $1 in it. So great message, Matt, but I'm not interested in it. Well, hold on. There's $35 trillion in US retirement accounts. Like there's no more money anywhere to invest in anything than US retirement accounts. And you're in the real estate business. Don't you want to know how to fund your deals? There's people out there, other people that have $35 trillion in their accounts looking for opportunities to invest. They could be your private money lenders. They could lend you money. So there's lots of ways that the IRA or 401k could be used, whether it's buying a rental, investing in a private fund that's doing a multifamily or a commercial project, private money lending the account to someone else. There's lots of different ways you can use your retirement account in real estate.
Yeah, so in our co-investing club, we have a lot of members who invest. They'll go in on the deals that we collectively invest in with their self-directed IRA, and they can do that because one of the things that we do is we'll form like a joint venture LLC to invest in these together. So each person can invest $5,000 if they want or more. But when you can only contribute $6-7 grand a year to an IRA. It can be hard to buy an entire rental property by yourself. So it's easier if you can go in on these syndications. But I do, for anyone who's interested in buying a rental property with their self-directed IRA, let's talk through some of the challenges and implications with that. One being, just first of all, getting enough money in your account to be able to practically do it. Even if you're getting out a mortgage loan, a down payment on a rental property is still going to be more than 1 or 2 years worth of contributions in most cases. And then you have UBIT and some of the other challenges there. So walk us through what some of those challenges are if you wanted to buy a property directly with a self-directed IRA and how to surmount some of those challenges.
Sure. Yeah. So let's go back to my own example. The first rental property I bought with my own retirement account was in 2017. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath rental in Indianapolis. It was a beautiful property. I mean, we could maybe share it here on the screen, but I don't know if the video goes. For the podcast, this isn't going to be great, guys. But think of it in your mind, this beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in Indianapolis. But I bought it for $85,000. This is 2017. It rented for $950 a month. And the way I stumbled into it is I just had a real estate broker friend of mine who was buying his own properties, not selling properties, but buying for himself in this market in Indianapolis. And I said, hey, go buy me one. And he's like, all right, I'll pick you up one. So that's what he did. Now, I bought the property with $40,000 down. Okay. I actually used my 401k to do this, not my IRA, because I can self-direct my 401k, which is something we can get to.
Yeah. And that's you have a much higher contribution limit. So that makes it a little bit more manageable to be able to do that.
There's only 40K. Only in 40K. And a lot of people have 40K in an IRA. And I would say the most common self-directed IRA investor is someone rolling over an old employer 401k with 100, 200, 300K. If you're at zero, like I was in 2015, in 2015, I was at zero in my own retirement account. I was paying off my student loans, getting my own financial crap together. And I'm like, I'd already written my book, the Self-Directed IRA Handbook, which is the #1 book in the space. And I'm like, I got to start doing this myself. Geez. And so I started maxing out my account at that time. So it took me 3 years of contributions to max out. And then I was able to go purchase this property. So I put 40K down. I got what's called a non-recourse loan on the balance, the other 45,000. And when you're getting a mortgage to purchase real estate with an IRA or 401k, you have to get a special type of mortgage. It's called a non-recourse loan. You can't just go get the regular mortgage.
Right.
What you're restricted from doing is you can't personally guarantee debt for your IRA or 401k. So you need to get a mortgage lender that'll lend money in what they call non-recourse, where if there's a default, they'll foreclose and take the property back, but they can't go after the IRA or 401k. They can't go after the IRA or 401k owner personally. So they only have recourse against the property. So there's probably 8 banks out there that play in that space. They're all on our website and our resource directory at directedira.com. And there, if you use one of those lenders, they kind of require 30 to 40% down. I did almost 50%. So, but I got into it with 40K, got an 85,000 property. I sold it last year. My rents were at 1,200 a month at the time I sold it. And I sold the property for 170 grand.
Oh, wow.
So I got an over 200% return in 5 years. Now I had good timing, you know, but that was just an example where everybody starts somewhere. Everyone's retirement account starts at zero. Like my largest account holder has a $400 million Roth IRA. He started at zero. And so for a lot of people that are like at zero, they're like frustrated. They're like, well, how do I get started? Well, everyone had to at some point. They're like, well, these people have $1 million account. That's not fair. They were at zero once too. You've got to start, and you've got to start putting the money aside. And maybe you start with a brokerage IRA and you're buying the S&P 500 or something like that. That's fine. And you get over to self-directing later once you have enough money set aside. But I think it's very doable at 40 to 50K. We have a lot of accounts at around 50K that are invested. But you're right. If someone's at zero and they're like, well, I want to do it next week. Well, you might not be able to do it. Like $7,000 annual contribution. Now, maybe if you're a creative investor, and we do have those, they can go wholesale it. They do transactional lending on it. I've had clients option properties. I had a client option a property for $10,000 and sell it for over $1 million gain in their Roth IRA.
Wow.
And so like you could option properties, but like you have to be like a creative real estate person in the business every day. Like I can't do that. I go buy base hits, single family rentals, you know, but I do have clients that they're in the business. They're doing real estate deals all the time and they find a sweet deal. I'll use my Roth IRA and pay no tax, put $10,000 down, sell the option. And there's examples I've had of clients that make $1 million. So everybody comes at it from a different spot is what I'm getting at here. But I just think it's one of those tools that not a lot of people know about. And let me just tell you that story, if you don't mind. Can I tell a story?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I told you I bill by the hour as a lawyer. I can talk forever. So I warned Brian before we got on here. Okay. I'll just give you this example because I think it's helpful.
Yeah.
I had this experienced real estate investor developer client. He had a Roth IRA with $10,000 in it. He saw a piece of land he wanted to acquire. Land was against the highway. And he knew that this property was going to go up in value because the state and the county were planning a freeway exit right where this land was next to. So he went to the landowner, which was agricultural owner, farmer, and he said, hey, I'll buy this land here. That was against the highway. There was no exit there yet. And but I'm not going to buy it now. I want the option to purchase this. I'm going to give you $10,000 for the rights to buy this property at a purchase price of 450 grand. Now, at the time, the property is worth maybe 300. So the landowner's like, knock yourself out. I'll take your 10 grand. If you want to buy this thing at over 50% up, markup within the next 5 years, it's yours. So he locked it down. Now my client did that with his Roth IRA. He didn't buy it. His Roth IRA bought the option. So the Roth IRA gave the 10 grand and had the rights to buy within 5 years for a purchase price of 450. Well, 2 to 3 years pass, the freeway exit goes in, and this property goes from being agricultural to highway commercial. And there's now a service station there, a subway, the typical stuff off the side of the highway. And, but my client, what happened once that stuff went in, and the exit went in, is he sold the option. The property went up to being worth $1.5 million after that happened. He sold the option for over $1 million gain to another developer that wanted to develop it out, who then purchased it for 450, paid my client over $1 million for the option, and still got it for a great deal. So I got $1 million back into my client's Roth IRA. Now, one reason that was cool, it was his Roth IRA, and it's totally tax-free. This client was in his 50s. He was like, this is amazing. So when that deal all happened, the client calls me 2 to 3 years later. He's like, all right, remember what we talked about 2 to 3 years ago? I'm like, yep, I got my notes. I remember talking to you. This is kind of interesting. He's like, well, I'm selling it right now. And he's like, I want to make sure. I'm like, he's signing all the closing documents. I want to make sure I didn't screw anything up. So he's going through the deal with me. And I'm like, you didn't jack anything up. You're good. Don't worry about it. And then there's like this long pause at the end, and he starts getting pissed off. He's mad. He starts getting a little upset. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? You're making over $1 million tax-free. Why was he mad? Nobody told him about this before. He's like, I'm 50 years old. I have a big law firm. I have the big CPA firm do my taxes. I have a financial advisor. All these people know that I love real estate and make money in real estate. They've all told me to go buy a stock or a mutual fund with my IRA or 401k. No one told me about this. I'm having to self-discover it. And he's like, no offense to you, Matt, and talk to you, because no one told me about this.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's a strategy that is just overlooked. It is so overlooked, whether you're doing a tax play using a Roth account, whether you're someone trying to fund real estate deals and you're like, there's $35 trillion here. How I'm raising capital. How am I going to raise capital? People's IRAs are 401ks. Or you're someone that wants to look at it the angle of, I want to build my own retirement account, investing in stuff I know. I'd rather build my own IRA or 401k by buying real estate than buying a mutual fund, because I'm better at real estate. I feel like I can drive a better return and it's going to do better in the long term. So there's a lot of different angles people can have at it to make money. I just think it's just not taught well. It's just not.
Yeah, well, that is certainly true. I mean, the average person may not even know what a self-directed IRA is, or even that it exists. And even people that do, often have a lot of misconceptions around them, or they don't understand the rules, which admittedly can be complicated, with UBIT and stuff like that. So, what we have found is that professional investors, really experienced hands-on real estate investors who are out there doing a lot of deals, doing creative financing, really good at finding off-market deals. They're the ones who benefit the most from using these for active real estate investments. And then the people who, work full-time doing something else, they are the ones who are investing in passive real estate investments with their self-directed IRA, doing things like investing in real estate syndications or notes, and sometimes, with those passive investments, you can invest to try to get those infinite returns, right? Where, you've got a Roth self-directed IRA, the syndicator refinances after a couple of years, you get your initial capital back, but you keep your ownership in that property and you get to just recycle the same money again and again and again in that account, and it grows tax-free. But yeah, we have seen that, the really professional investors can just hit it out of the park, like you're talking about, with buying properties directly. And for people who work full-time in an unrelated field, it's more of the passive real estate investments that they're doing in them.
Yeah. And that's me. I mean, like, I'm that guy. I got 100 plus employees between my companies. I'm on the passive side and I don't have the deal flow like that example I gave, but I have a self-directed IRA summit I do every year. And I have a panel that I put, and I have clients that are on the panel. I have 7-figure type of $1 million+ dollar accounts, and they're mostly active. They're out there cutting deals every day. They might do 20 to 30 real estate deals a year. And they pick 5 of those 20 to do in their IRA, and they're kind of like the juiciest ones that can make them the most money, and they're strategic about it. And so, but then you've got another crowd that's more me, that's like, I just believe I can get a better return on my money in real estate than I will in the stock market. So let me go find good real estate deals, because there's bad real estate deals too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you could invest in a loser property too. And so, but if you believe overall that you're better off investing in real estate, I think it's a good way to grow. Now, one negative you mentioned, and I just want to hit it if you don't mind, is this tax called UBIT or UDFI.
Yeah, please.
And so
that's something that's very confusing for a lot of investors.
Yeah, it's very confusing, and people do need to know it. It's a whole chapter in my book, The Self-Directed IRA Handbook. So, which is on my website or on Amazon. But, and I have webinars and full podcast episodes on this, but I just want to give a quick reference to it though.
Yeah, please.
If you use debt with an IRA to leverage your purchasing power, the IRS wants you to pay tax on the debt. Let me give an example. It's the best way to understand it. Let's say you buy a property for 100 grand. Okay. And I do 100 grand so I can do the math easy. Okay. So 100 grand purchase price. Let's say you put 40,000 down from your IRA. The other 60,000 comes in from a loan. You get a non-recourse loan, like I mentioned earlier. Let's say you sell the property 2 years later for 110 grand. You have a $10,000 profit. Okay. Well, let's say you sell it for 120, but you had 10,000 in expenses. But at the end of the day, you made 10 grand gain. Okay. Well, the IRS looks at that and they're like, all right, 40% of that deal was your IRA's money. The other 60%, you use debt to increase your retirement account's purchase power. We'll let that gain go back into your retirement account, but you got to pay tax on the debt piece. So 60% of that 10,000 is subject to this tax called UDFI. It's a version of UBIT. It's called unrelated debt financed income. So on that $10,000 gain, 60% of it is subject to this tax called UDFI. Now, when you sell a property, you get capital gains rate on UDFI, 20%. You're paying 20% on $6,000. $1,200 is the tax you'll pay there. So, but hang on. A lot of people are like, Matt, that sucks. Well, what were you going to do with that 40K anyways? Buy 40,000 worth of mutual funds, 40,000 worth of stock. You bought 100,000 worth of real estate. Let's say you got a 10% return on that real estate versus a 10% return on 40,000 of stock or a mutual fund. After you pay the tax, you're better off. You made more money because you leveraged and increased your purchasing power, which is one of the great things of real estate that you mentioned at the outset. Was one of the things I love about real estate is leverage. I can increase and buy more assets by using the bank because they're willing to lend on real estate. Now, do I pay UDFI? Yes, with IRAs, you pay UDFI, but only on the debt piece. And you get to expense everything against that too. Depreciation that can carry forward can offset it. All the other things I get to expense against it. So I still think it's a good deal to use debt to leverage and increase your purchasing power if you're buying great properties. Because I've had clients come to me, I had a client a while ago say, hey, Matt, I have 200 grand in my account. There's this market I want to invest in, buying single family rentals. I can buy one outright with cash, or I could buy 3 and get a loan on each one. Well, what should I do? And I'm like, well, if these properties are great rentals and they appreciate and have great cash flow, buy 3 and get the debt because you're going to make more money at the end of the day. You're only paying tax at 20% rate and you're making more money. You've tripled your purchasing power. And so I do think people need to know about UDFI, which is a version of that UBIT tax, but I don't think it should prevent someone from still doing real estate. Just be aware of it. You do need to know about it. A good accountant or lawyer can help. We help our clients all the time in my law firm on that. We do the tax returns if you need to end up paying it. It's called a 990T. But it is one of those things that can get people off track to be like, that sounds complicated. And I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be discouraging.
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's something that investors need to understand when they go into it so that they're not blindsided by it later. So, Matt, if someone wants to explore this with you, if someone wants to potentially open a self-directed IRA to use to invest in real estate or any other kind of alternative asset, how can they connect with you and connect with Directed IRA?
Yeah, best way is directedira.com. Right on the homepage, they can schedule a free account call with one of our senior account reps or managers, and they can kind of go through their situation. Do you have accounts? Are they eligible to roll over or transfer? And then go over your typical investment options, and we can help answer all your questions. So that's the best place to get started. Our team's here to help. We have a ton of education. We have our Directed IRA podcast. It's like 100 episodes in just about this topic.
Awesome.
There's my book too, the Self-Directed IRA Handbook. We're pretty much out there on this stuff. We want to give a ton of educational content. Because one thing that I'll just say about this, the last closing thing is self-directing is not rocket science. It's like a board game. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't just open it up and move pieces around and play it right. You got to read the rule book or play with someone you know to get it right. But once you've done it a couple of times, it's the same thing over and over again. So there is a little bit of learning curve at the front, but it is something once you learn about and you master it, it's the same thing over and over again for the next 20, 30 years of your investing. And if you love real estate or these other alternative assets, not the stock market, I think it's an awesome tool for people to look into.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. This was a great conversation, and we hope to have you back soon.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And guys, if you enjoy these conversations that we have, please rate, review the show. It means a world of difference to us. And we will catch you next week. Same place, same time. Stay in touch, and we'll see you later.
Like the idea of diversifying into real estate, but don't want the headaches of being a landlord? Enter passive real estate syndications. You buy fractional ownership in apartment complexes and other large-scale properties. Earn your share of rental income and your share of the profits when the property sells. In fact, most of the syndicators we've invested with have average returns over 20% per year. You even get full tax benefits, including accelerated depreciation. Even as you collect distributions in real life, you often report a loss on your tax return. So why doesn't everyone invest in real estate syndications? First, you typically need to know the syndicator to invest, and the minimum investment for each property is high. usually $50,000 to $100,000. That's a lot of money for a single investment, which is precisely why we formed an investment club to pool funds and invest together. Every month, we propose a new deal in the co-investing club and vet it together on a group call with the syndicator. Each deal is purely optional. Pass or invest as you like. As for us, we invest our personal money alongside you in every single deal. If you want to invest like the 1% without actually being a 1%er, join Spark Rentals Co-Investing Club. Email us at support@sparkrental.com with questions, and we look forward to investing alongside you.